Welcome back to church. We're so excited that you tuned in. This is going to be a phenomenal time. We are going to keep going with fun. I mean, It was so much fun last time that we want to run it back. So, Jason, I hope you're ready. We're going to dig back into fun. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some things that are fun to us. We're also going to tie that into our spiritual walk and our connection with Jesus, because this is church. We're real people with real problems who really love God. So we're into tackling topics that you don't normally hear in the body of Christ. So today, fun, part 2. Jason, you ready?
I'm so ready. I've been excited for this all week. I have been preparing myself mentally to talk more about fun as though it's some heavy topic, right? I like to come in and like really bring the gravity. No, it's a blast, man. This is like the joy of my life to be able to share, and hopefully people enjoy, be able to share the things that really bring me joy and hopefully bring connection to other people. I've realized that's the thing I like about fun the most is that it connects us to other people. Yeah. Right. Because having fun by yourself is okay for a little while. I think sharing fun with others is what ties in memories and really builds life experiences and things like that. So I'm grateful for the chance to have fun with you recording this podcast. I'm grateful for the chance to share it with other people. I can't wait for the people that'll just approach us on the street and be like, I also love playing hopscotch. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Hopscotch was not one of the things I was talking about today. But you know what I mean? Those kind of things where there's memories tied together. For me, some of the things is like roller hockey in the street growing up and, going
roller hockey. I played roller hockey
a little bit. Yeah. Come on. Look at us. Ready for not ice hockey at all. I'm
from Texas. There's no ice.
Oh, fair enough. Like you just play water hockey?
There used to not be ice. I mean, today with
swim trunks. Yeah.
The way it's going now, you can get some ice in Texas.
No, I know. They have good air conditioning. They have to. You got to have like really large fans in Texas.
Absolutely.
No, I think it's just those things like the kind of obscure things that even sometimes I think when you're having fun, especially as a kid or sometimes as an adult, it's these things where in the moment it's just really cool and it's hard to quantify how special it's going to be. Yeah. But then looking back on it is where you go, man, that was fun. Like think about that phrase when people use it. That was fun. Yeah. But what an impactful thing it is. If somebody can walk away from a situation, if my students in my classroom can walk away, if young people you're interacting with at church, if friends from a card game can walk away and say that was fun. Yeah. That's something they're taking with them, right? That's a bag they are packing and keeping forever, right? Even if it's deep in the closet, someday they're going to look back and go, man, that was fun. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. I'm going to kick it back to you. I'm going to say, what is something, right, along the list that we've kind of started where you look back and say, that was fun?
Ooh, man. That's a great question.
Right
man.
Back in your pocket. Yeah.
That's a great question. Ooh, man. Something I look back and say that was fun from the bag of things to do. I would say this, in my time in the U.S. Navy, I wasn't like a person who would enjoy like group fun. I'm kind of a introvert a little bit. And so the first time I took a tour, like in a foreign country, normally people just go out and explore. But the first time I took an organized tour of like, we just went out and, with a group of people and a tour guide and there's like food tasting and all this other different stuff. The first time I did that, I was like, oh man, that was fun. And I'm not normally the kind of person that would like do that. Like, I'm just kind of a loner a little bit. I keep a small group of people. Right. And these tours are like 50, 75 people. And so when you go out with that many people, I'm normally like, I can work a crowd, but I'd prefer not to. But that was actually like fun. Just experience it with new people you don't know, places you don't know. And it was, it's a great place. It's a great tool to get to know the area you're in, get to know some facts you normally wouldn't know, and meet some people who you normally wouldn't hang around with. And it's also a great place to share your faith. because there's always like little pockets of time where you're talking to somebody who doesn't know Christ, right? And God always puts us in positions to share the love of God. And one of the greatest things was some tours were like geared towards Christians. Like the chaplains on the ship would just have tours that were like geared toward people who were in the faith. And so like tours of Jerusalem and and so you would get people who would just go out of curiosity. Right. And so they just wanted to go. They're just, they wasn't about their faith. And then you would just get to be able to share the love of God with them. And so that's one thing I look back at and be like, man, that was fun. And the reason why I look back on that is because somebody had to talk me into it. It wasn't my idea, right? I got talked into it and it turned out to be something that was fun. So sometimes in life, we want to just stick to what we know. We just want to stick to, what we feel is comfortable. But sometimes people come along and they talk us into things that we normally wouldn't do. And they turn out to be great things for us. And so fun can be trying something new, not sin, trying something new.
Fair enough.
Right. Got to put that caveat in there, right?
Yeah.
Don't go out and rob a store because you ain't never did it before.
Trying something new and healthy.
And healthy.
New and healthy.
And healthy, right? Because you never know. If you've never tried something, right? How do you know if, that's not going to be something that you enjoy? And so I look back, there's probably 100 things I could probably talk about, but that just kind of came to mind. Like that was something that was like new. And I was like, oh, that was fun. And so it became one of the things that I enjoyed to do. Every foreign country I went to, I was like, where's the tour going? Let's go. That's
right. Well, listen, every single person listening to this podcast right now is wondering the thing I'm about to ask. What were your favorite places? So I don't know if you had a favorite or just multiple. I don't want to pin you down like you got to pick one because everything kind of has its unique shape and size and memory tied to it. But what were like 2 or 3 where you'd go, maybe the barometer or like the measure is I'd go back there. I would do that one again. Because I'm sure there's some where you say, I'm not sure I'd do that again. Like that was fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed swimming with the sharks, but like next time I could get bit, maybe we don't do that again. For me, that's like whitewater rafting. It was like fun enough, but I know for sure I will never do it again. Like ever. So it was a good one time, like bing, boom, did it. So where are the places where you're like, I would go back?
Oh man. Do you just want
fun
one?
And I would do. You could do a couple.
Let me give you the top 3. Okay. Let's do top 3. And I'm a nerd. So most people be like, what are you talking about?
That's one of the things we love most about you, Warren. Your nerddom.
So here's the Bible nerd coming out of me. The Red Sea. I didn't get in the Red Sea, but knowing that I was in the Red Sea, I was like, oh, this is the truth. Like, like this is awesome. Like, right. So that's on my list. I actually went on a tour. It was a horseback riding tour. I forgot it was in Europe.
Okay.
But we were going up a mountain and legitimately the little path was like this wide. And we had to trust that these horses knew where to step. And it was terrifying and fun all at the same time. Right. I don't know if I'd do it again, but it was an experience that when we got back down the mountain, I was like, thank God I did that. Check
you
mark.
You went on a faith journey on horseback. That's funny.
But I think everybody on that tour is kind of scared. So built some great camaraderie. It's an event that just kind of sticks in my mind. And I had a really good experience in Australia. I mean, it's beautiful. Where was I? I think I was in Perth. And it wasn't nothing like, oh my God, the people. It was just the countryside was just beautiful. I had an opportunity to go to this dolphin resort. I don't know why it was a dolphin resort. I didn't see any dolphins.
Funny to me? Yeah,
I didn't see any dolphins, but it was an amazing beach area. It was gorgeous. It was phenomenal. So it goes back on my list of places to go back to.
I immediately was imagining like, dolphins walking around with like flip flops and a Hawaiian shirt on being like, hey there, you're like, this is very strange. You guys are dolphins. Yeah. The dolphin resort. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my journey in the Navy, I I've been blessed to go all over the world via the United States Navy. I also had an opportunity to preach the word of God and share the love of God to people who normally wouldn't go to church. As God has called us, that we represent the church everywhere we go. And so, I mean, from Singapore to Japan to Paris, France, it was an amazing journey to see other cultures and people. And let me tell you, around the world, one of the most amazing things that happened to me, I was in Dubai. See, I'm getting old because I'm like, I start asking questions to stuff like, I'm asking you, was I in Dubai? Like you would know, right?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know.
But I'm pretty sure it was in Dubai, and everything stopped. Like we were like in this huge shopping complex, small place, and everything stopped. Everything we were like in stores, and like all the stores like shut down. It was just like so sudden. And I was like, where did everybody go? Just in the middle of the day, everything just shut down. And so everybody there who was from there, they closed their shops down and they went to like this center place to pray. And I was blown away. I mean, it's like everything ceased and they stopped and they went pray. I remember it's like in the middle of the day, I was like, wow. And it was like no exceptions. Nothing was left open. It's like everything was silent, and it was just hundreds of people in this city center just praying. And I was just like, okay. I was like, man, that was powerful to me. And so having experienced other cultures and seeing how they interpret God, and they call God different names, in my heart, I'm just like, man, I hope they're praying to Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I reconcile that there are some places that, they don't call him Jesus. And I pray that the message of Jesus reaches them, because I would hate for them to put all that effort into something that is not him,
Yeah.
And that's just not fun. And I'm going off on a tangent, right? But I just thought that was something that really grabbed me, that, man, if we could just be a people who could just stop what we're doing and give God a piece of our day, man, how much more exciting our life would be if we just gave him just pieces of our day to say, hey, this is dedicated to God. How much more would we enjoy our life? How much more carefree would we be? How much more stress-free would we be? And ultimately, how much more fun would we have with the gift that God has given us?
That's right.
I mean, we're talking about fun. And my thing is, if you really trust God with your life, we talk about, like, the Bible tells us not to worry about tomorrow. It has enough troubles for itself, and what we're going to eat or drink or how we're going to pay our bills. If we can really live that out, just think about the life that God really wants us to have, the love that we really should be showing to people. Christianity can be a heavy thing, right? It can be heavy because sometimes we carry burdens that Jesus has already paid for. It's kind of like trying to pay your mortgage, on the third when you paid it on the first, right? And just carrying the burden, like, I got to continue to do this. And God's like, I've already paid the price for your sins. I paid the price for your salvation, and I have come so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. That doesn't mean that you're just going to have money out of the just overflowing money coming everywhere. It means that you can enjoy what God has given you in this moment, right? And that's fun to me. Fun to me is it's being able to know that God's in control. That I don't have to worry about it. I can be concerned about it, right? I can be like, this is my stuff, but man, I can let go because God is in control. He can take the wheel, right? And I can know that he's in control, and I don't have to worry about every little detail of my life. I can put it in his hands, and then I can experience the amazing thing that he's put me in and really see what he's done. And so traveling the world and seeing other people allows me to see just how vast God is, how big he is, and how small, how tiny and often insignificant I am to him. And the fact that he knows me. Whew.
It's big.
It's fun.
So what I heard there, I think the context that I'm pulling from that is peace.
Come on.
Real peace is fun.
Let's go.
So you don't know this yet, but I had breakfast with my dad this morning.
Let's go.
So having breakfast with your dad is awesome.
Yeah.
Period. right? That was fun. So having breakfast with your dad in small town America, Rich Square, North Carolina, at a restaurant called Claudine's, which almost forces you to have a Southern accent, that's real fun. You know, you go in and they treat you like family immediately. I had eggs scrambled with some bacon and some sausage, and it's just, you know, home cooked, everything right there. You can hear it cooking in the kitchen over beside you. But having breakfast with my dad this morning, there's no way you could have known this. I love how God lines these things up. We talked about peace. Because for the first time in my life for the last few years, I have real peace, right? Financial, rest at work, rest in my family, like the things that people tend to worry and stress about.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have found myself in a place where even though the similar challenges present themselves with your family, even though there's not always perfect health, there's not always perfect finances, my house and my appliances and my cars fall apart just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But God has been so cool in my life recently and giving me such peace. So we had a car go down 3 or 4 days ago, right? And I was telling my dad in the past, this would have just been something that emotionally overwhelmed me and it wouldn't have been any fun.
Yeah.
Like in an episode where we're talking about fun, those are the least fun things. They overwhelm me. They take over my brain, or they used to.
Yeah.
And so what are the odds? And again, I don't want to be, before I tell the story, I don't ever want to make it seem like this is a prosperity doctrine podcast where, you know, this magical wand of like, I say I love Jesus, or I really do love Jesus. And then all of a sudden he brings all of this financial prosperity. But Warren, what are the odds that we just got done doing our taxes? And because we have so many kids, we usually get a return. And this year we got a little more because I didn't realize that I didn't claim exemptions for my kids. And I don't know if anybody's into taxes, and everybody's now falling asleep that's listening to the pod because I started talking about taxes. The point is,
do your taxes.
Yeah, do your taxes. The point is, we withheld some money this year. So this year we got more money back. I looked at last year's taxes. I looked at what the car bill just cost us. And we got back slightly more this year than what the car just cost us.
Come on.
That could not have been us. We couldn't have planned it.
Yeah.
But in about a week, the car bill will be fully settled off of our credit card, debt free.
Yeah.
With the money from taxes coming in without us having to strive or worry or work. And not for a second were we worried about it.
Come on.
Right. And it's not because we just overflow. It's because God really does have it, and we really believe it before we feel it. And so when I'm telling you peace is fun, I mean it, because I have lived a long time without it. I have spent a lot of time without it. So peace, like what you were talking about, right? Where you are just feeling God's presence, where you feel insignificant. There's this magical thing that happens when you realize that, and I just want to clarify for insignificant, right? That word, what you and I are both saying, right? For somebody listening going, well, I'm not important. That's not what we're saying. You're insignificant in that God can impact you greatly.
Come on.
But you are not impacting God's ability to bless you, right? He can pour out whatever he wants to.
Come on.
You're not stopping him, is what we're saying. You are not significant in terms of being able to hold up some barrier between you and God, as long as you accept that relationship, right? Peace is really, really fun.
Peace is.
So thanks, Dad, for breakfast this morning.
Come on.
Appreciate the time. It was so cool. And I don't want to take moments like that for granted, right? Like real memories like that are fun.
Yeah.
But it's just what hit me. As soon as you were talking about it, was like, I just had this conversation this morning where life is different and better and the same, right? Same challenges, different mindset, better results.
So good.
Right? Ooh. That's where I'm at. So peace is fun. You want to take a minute, breathe that in.
Jason, it's funny how God, how he operates, right? Like, I mean, to be transparent, I think we talked about like, hey, What's our conversation today? We're like, hey, we got some more to do with fun. And God is kind of like combined fun and peace, like intertwined. And I feel like that's for a reason. If you're watching this podcast and you're like, hey, I wanted to see what these guys wanted to say about fun in church, right? I feel compelled to draw you into this moment of maybe you're missing out on some fun in your life, right? Maybe you're missing out on some enjoyment in your life, the blessings that God has given you. And we're not talking about getting anything else. We're talking about what you already have, right? You can't really enjoy that or have fun with it because you don't have peace, right? Mm-hmm. And here's the one thing about life. I've tried it. Jason's tried it. I can tell you can talk to a lot of people. Without God, there is no peace. Period. There's nothing you can find on this earth that can give you the peace that comes from God, the peace that comes from knowing Jesus, because there's nothing down here, right? There's nothing down here that's permanent. Everything down here is subject to change. The only thing that is unchanging is God. Jesus never changes. He doesn't shift his shadow. He is constant. He remains the same. I'm so thankful that he is a steady God, right? Because when the world is upside down, he's right side up, right? He's when we're down here losing our mind, God is his peace is so calm. When you put your trust in him, not in what you have, right? Because what you have can go away in a blink of an eye. Somebody can hack a computer and everything that you've spent your entire life building can be over. But then no one can hack God and make him over, right? Nobody can hack Jesus and undo what he's already done for us, right? He's an everlasting peace. He's an everlasting God, and he cannot be beat, right? I'm telling you, if you invest in anything, right, give your life, everything. Don't hold anything back to God. Because what you get in return is not an easy life. It's not a life without problems. It's not a life without controversy or getting canceled. It's a life of peace. That's what you get. It's a life of knowing that, yes, things are going to happen, but nothing can out-happen God. Yes, things will go bad, but he turns all things for my good. Yes, I may lose some things, but God takes my losses and turns them into wins. And so even when it's not good, because it's easy to say, I got peace when it's good, but the blessing of it is, and Jason, you can talk about this. The blessing is when it's not good to still have peace. That's the blessing. That's kind of like a Jedi mind trick, right? Ooh. When everything is going down, when people are around you, like, how are you smiling? How are you calm? How are you steady? When if I was you, I'd be losing my mind. God, I know it doesn't look good. I know it doesn't feel good. I know you're like, oh my God, this is happening to you. But God, he's never failed. And so when you know that, you have a peace of knowing he never will. Right? Yeah. I know it's raining in my life, right? But I got this umbrella called God, right? Yes, I'm getting wet. I may even be soaked, right? But there's a God who's caring for me. And this is how I fight my battles. And so even battles can be fun when you already know the victory's already won. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. Life with God is fun.
Come on.
Right? You mentioned it's raining. We get to dance in the rain.
Come on.
With God.
That's right.
Life with God is fun.
That's right.
It really is. Even when it's challenging.
Even when it's
challenging. Challenges can be fun too.
They can.
I mean, really, like I like a good challenge. Like that's it's competition with myself.
Ooh.
You know, I think those are fun too. But I love how God designs our lives.
Yeah.
Like I love how he puts us in places where we need him. Mm-hmm. And so we're able to have fun when we lean into him.
Ooh.
Right? But I think he designs it that way. God is the ultimate designer. Right? Which leads me perfectly into my next fun thing. No, but really, like that's the thing I wanted to talk about was I love design.
Okay.
And art. And like, so we talked about on the pod before that I am a professor of graphic design.
Let's go.
I wasn't forced into this career. I really do enjoy it. I love the artistry of trying to kind of solve design puzzles.
Yeah.
What's the best possible look?
Okay.
And the nice thing is that it's never perfect. You never completely nail it. There's never a design that you would always be 100% happy with. I think there are times you're 100% happy, but I think it's the imperfection that keeps pushing you, right? If you do the perfect thing, it could be perfect for that moment, but the same graphic design work, the same, let's refer it to church that everybody's watching, the same video backgrounds, right? The same subtitle designs, all those kind of things that people see when they watch the YouTube video or hear the audio design that we have going on, or kind of the aesthetic of the office here, or the lighting, or you got that beautiful candle in the background, like all these choices, right? God allows us to make these cool design choices, just like he made cool design choices for our life, right? Like he put us together and brought us together perfectly, right? Now we get to make choices as to how we continue those designs. Do we grow our hair out? What do we wear? Do we get tattooed? Which in a future episode, by the way, I think we're just going to have a tattoo episode. Like it's just a tattoo tour, because to me, I got him. Yeah, I got Warren. I think we're going to have an episode where we just do a tattoo tour, because to me, it is like wearing art on your body, and it's all a story. And I love design and story. And I tell my students all the time, the coolest part of graphic design is figuring out what story you're telling, because you're always telling a story. Right? You always are. You make art, you're telling a story. You're sending a message. You're trying to say something. And whether the same person hears the same message, right? The same group of people aren't all going to hear the same message from what they're looking at when they look at a piece of art. So I think that's a cool challenge, is what message are you conveying? What can you say to someone even when you're not standing there with them? Every time somebody opens a magazine, every time somebody walks into an art gallery, they are looking at a piece of design or artwork that you designed, and you're not there to explain it. So what story are you telling? What legacy did you leave behind? See, that to me is the fun part, is someday my kids can look back and say, look at these things my dad helped create. Look at these choices that he made. And I look at my kids that way. Even they are designed by God. And I get to say, look at these cool things that I got to help make. And I love them. They're amazing. None of them are perfect, but man, are they perfect for me.
Come on.
Right? God designs our lives that way.
Let's go.
And I just think that is so cool that we have opportunities to add to what God did.
Let's go.
You know, and along these same lines, like movies, right? So I love film, anything artistic, anything expressive, music, those things I love. But I do think about films where kind of like dystopian future films, right? Like a Blade Runner or iRobot, right? So I thought of this metaphor just now. Well, in iRobot, Will Smith is fighting all these robots that all look the same. They're outputting all these things that look the same. Well, they make one design choice, but then it's all kind of the same thing. And no offense to that, but at some point that's boring, right? They all look the same. They're all, they're supposed to look muted. They're supposed to operate in the background. In the context of the film, the idea is that they just are utility, right? But somebody had to design one. I think it's cool that we all have utility as people. We're all important, but we all also are designed differently.
It's good.
Right? How much creativity goes into our personalities, into our brains. And like, when I think about art and design and being a graphic design teacher, it isn't just about print materials or a website or even audio visuals, right? To me, it's a bigger message that you get to be a part of, that we get to design our lives and kind of curate these things. And are we going to honor God with it? Are we going to honor ourselves? Are we going to honor other people with it?
Come on.
Those are choices we all get to make.
Come on.
And I think that is so cool. That's what's cool to me about design, is that it harkens back to the part of us that's creative.
Come on.
Like God made us, no offense to anybody else. I'm not taking shots at anybody, but he made us creative and destructive. So if you feel like you're destroying things around you and you shouldn't be, don't do that.
Don't do it.
What I mean is, it's so cool to be a creative being and have to work hard against that destructive nature and help create and build up, right? You build up relationships. You build up the people in your life. You try not to destroy those things. You make art. Do you destroy the art? Not usually, like that's kind of a cool metaphor to me. And so design, graphic design, and how kind of like those problem solving parts of my brain work, it's a great metaphor for our faith, our relationships, all the things in our life. They're beautiful. They're challenging. You have to focus and learn. You have to pour yourself into them. Ooh. And then with each one, sometimes you have to be willing to say, that's good.
Come on.
Got to move on to the next thing.
Come on.
So yeah, graphic design, art, all those things.
Ooh.
So my favorite artists, right, are, I have some stuff back here behind me by Cause.
Okay.
I love his art. It's very playful. Stephen Harrington, another designer I love. I don't mean to like go down the Rolodex and take this whole episode and everybody's going to be pausing it and Googling who I'm talking about. But like shoe design, Jordans and Nikes. And I'm recently been in this brand Lussos that I've been wearing to church and things like that. People have been giving me like, asking, are you sponsored? Like, you sure do wear those a lot. I'm like, no, they're just super comfortable. Right. It's kind of these choices where you, manicure and put together outfits and like color combinations and all these things that are just awesome.
Yeah.
So much fun. So design, art, culture, all those things mashing together and taking those things that sometimes are not for the glory of God and steering them back that way.
Steering them back.
That's fun for me. So like a shirt that says Jesus loves you.
Much
like I'm wearing today for those not watching the video.
I love it. Because if you look at the shirt, right, it has the words Jesus love you in yellow, brings you right to those words, right? But behind, kind of like silhouetted behind it, is a smiley face overlaid on the bottom. That's kind of matte black, right?
Yep.
What a design. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Right. Design choices. So this is Jesus Loves You, the company, no sponsorship, but like we're, I really dig their stuff and it's like the message is clear.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be more true. So when I think about design work, when I think about art and just how it functions in culture and the ways we can use it for God, that's what I think to myself, man, that was fun.
Come on.
So Warren, my man, what do you have? What's another kind of like fun thing that you like to dive into that takes you to special places and you hold special place in your heart?
So we're going to go off the deep end on that. But before we do, you mentioned
you
something.
You about to say swimming?
Huh? No.
You go off the deep end. I was like, okay, here we
go. But before we do that, you mentioned like you were talking about design and graphic design, right? And just art in itself, right? It draws me back to the word of God that says that we are his masterpiece, right? That God knits us together in our mother's womb, right? And as a man in this country, in America, right, with this hue, this skin color, right? I often talk to people, right? I have four. I don't have four. I have three amazing young men that God has allowed me to father. All right, they're my sons. Yeah, they're all they're grown men. Well, Curtis is 18. He's
No, he's there. No, Curtis, if you're listening to this, you get full cred. You get a check mark from me, buddy.
Okay, Curtis, you get full cred. All right.
Yeah, come on.
So three amazing young men, 25, 23, 18, right? And so I talked to them about the controversy of being this color and being a man and being in this country, right? Let's just make this a little bit fun. And so I related back to them in this, like, look, the world looks at you and they may see a criminal. Just be honest, right? I mean, all of my sons have dreadlocks, who knew, right?
It's a good look,
right?
Good look.
And so they're not going to look at you automatically, right? And see like a successful person or somebody's not riffraff, right? That's just how people they're going to view you right away. But I need you to not just view yourself as yourself, but I need you to view yourself the way God sees you. The word says that he created you and you're a masterpiece, right? And so here's a couple things about this you need to know, and relates back to what you're talking about, design, the chief designer, right? Like my heritage is Native American, what you can call African American descendants that descended from Africa. We just have there's just a Madrid of different things that go into kind of our heritage, but God designed me specifically with the accent I have and the way that I look and all of the things that go in that made me, like he put me together, right? So even when I see myself, I have to see myself through his eyes and be like, okay, yeah, I didn't create me, God created me, right? And so I feel like a lot of people struggle with what God created. They may look in the mirror and they may not like what they see. They may not even like their background. I think if you had a true conversation with people, they'll tell you and be honest with you and be like, you didn't get to pick your race. You didn't get to pick the family that you were born into, right? But we often treat people like they chose the group they belong to. God designed them. You know, like when we say, oh, there's black people and white people and there, you know, there's Hispanics, there's Asian, and like nobody got to choose what group they were born into. Right?
Yeah.
We're just people. Yes, we're different, right? We're different cultures, different background, but when you boil it all back down to nobody got to choose, right? And you can't even unchoose, right? You can try to put yourself in a different group, but you are authentically who God created you to be, and that is more than enough. And that is a part of what God calls his masterpiece. And so I think even viewing you as a creation, as a design of God, really helps us not just love who God created, but to be who he made us to be. I think we spend a lot of time trying to make ourselves into our own vision of ourselves instead of just accepting what the creator has put down here. Just accepting ourselves for who we are. Now, that leads me into something that I find fun, right? And those people be like, what are you talking about? Right. I love, that's a strong word, right? But something I find that's really fun is fitness. And, you know, we talked about fitness, right? But specifically bodybuilding, right? Not the kind of like monster bodybuilding, but true bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding, where you can go in and take this vessel that that put you in, right? And you can design it. You know, you can do certain things to make it look certain ways, and you can tone it up and you can make it aesthetically however you want to. I use this analogy that bodybuilding, fitness in general is like programming your computer. Your body will look the way you tell it to look. It's a computer. So it puts the onus back on you. You're going to look, right, physically, whatever you program your body to do, right? Like you can look like a Big Mac. All you got to do is just put Big Macs in.
That's right.
Right. I got a problem with Oreos and Krispy Kreme, right? So I will look like Oreos and Krispy Kreme if that's all I put inside my body, right? If that's all I do, right? So I love the fact that it's challenging to be able to stay on a regiment, to stay disciplined, and to take care of this vessel that God has given us. And I believe that you just feel better when you look better to yourself. I'm not saying compete or be the person on the magazine. I'm saying that you should compare yourself to yourself. You know, there's positions in your life where you feel really good about you, and that's how you want to look. That's what you should strive for, right? Not like, I want to be this, I want to have washboard abs. No, make the choice that there's something that you want to look like for you, and know what that destination is, because it is a destination. Some people, you never get there. No, there's a place where you get there and you just maintain, right? there's a maintain phase, right? But for me, that's fun. That's fun to challenge yourself, and taking the onus off of having to fit in someone else's mold really makes that fun. When I get an opportunity to go to gym with my sons, it's just fun. Lifting weights, you know, flexing in the mirror, you know, it's like getting four lions in a room, you know. It's a thing, right?
So I gotta ask, what's your favorite workout? What's the most fun for you to do in terms of a workout?
Leg day.
It's the most fun? You're lying. Yes. Get out of here. Leg day.
And
is it really leg day for real?
Yeah, leg day is awesome. So leg day is awesome because
said nobody ever.
Yeah. Leg day is awesome because you don't want to look like you're gonna fall over.
True.
Like my family's blessed with some genetics. We have these. We have really good forearms and we have really defined chests. That's just
okay.
Just cool. Genetically, we didn't do it. God did it. Thank you, Dad, Granddad. Just all the people who came before us. We appreciate you, right? And so these are muscles. These are the beach muscles. You just go in. We can do chest every day of the week, and we wouldn't have a problem. But we would look like we'd fall over because we wouldn't have the legs to support the upper body. So I love leg day because my sons don't like it.
Interesting. Okay.
So, I've had this great trainer when I first started my bodybuilding journey. Was a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. I worked with him in Pearl Harbor, and he was my bodybuilding coach, Troy Bell, an amazing guy. And he said, "Hey, I'll take you on. I'll coach you for bodybuilding if you can withstand leg day." I was like, "Okay, cool." So our first workout session was leg day. And he was like, "Look, if you can make it through this, we could train together." And so I already made up in my mind, whatever he threw at me, I was going to take it. Let me tell you, before that leg workout, I thought I knew how to work out legs. I had no idea.
Right.
I mean, I made it barely.
Okay.
And
you're crawling by the end.
Yeah, I was, and I think my legs were sore for like a good 7 days, like never before. But I adopted that. Like I adopted that what he put me through as that's the crucible. If you can survive this, right, you can do the rest of it, right? Because the legs are the biggest muscle group in the body. You got more leg muscles than anything else. And so when you train them, the lactic acid builds up and kind of makes you feel like you want to throw up, right? And so it also, when you're training legs, if you're going really hard, not only will you be wobbling when you walk, but you'll be a little, you'll get a little dizzy, right?
Dizzy a little bit. Sure.
It's a whole thing. I don't, and so it's fun for me to have leg day with my sons because they just want to keep up. They want to keep up. They want to outdo dad. And sometimes it's just funny to watch.
Good luck. You're like, the big dog at the park, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So leg day, son. We love arms and back and all that good stuff too, but leg day's a fun day.
Leg day's the one. Okay. That's awesome, man. I like that. What do you do? So, I've noticed something. I noticed a pattern, and I do love it about you that you are a hard worker. You are dedicated, but even continuing from last episode, the fun things you do are like clean the car.
Yeah.
Detail the car. I don't mean to, I don't want to make little of it. You've getting into details. Working out, right?
Yeah.
Even chasing the kids and run around and then going on tours. Can I ask something that the fans at home are definitely wondering? Yeah. Does Warren Brown ever do anything fun that's relaxing?
Ooh.
Do you do anything that slows you down? Do you do anything that's I gotta just light a candle? I just thought of that because it's in the background. But anything you do that's I just take bubble baths and nobody would know that. You know what I mean? Do you do something that's I take 10 minutes and sit in a silent room in the dark? I don't know. I just was wondering about that because everything you do for fun
seems
like super energy. Yeah. But I like to do things where, basketball is a lot of energy, right? Run around with my kids, love doing design and art. I'm thinking, and it's not always relaxing, right? So I was wondering if you and I should go over at least one thing that we do that's relaxing for fun, do we actually do things that are slow down?
Slow down.
Yeah.
I'm a movie person. That gets me to slow down.
Okay.
I enjoy a good movie. I think it's and this goes back to my early days in the Navy. When you live on a ship, there's not a whole lot of things you can do to get off the ship. But if you go to the movie, you get off the ship, you get to relax.
Okay.
And so I'm a movie person. So over my life, I frequent movie theaters. I've built movie theater in my home. So
no big deal.
Yeah. And I'm careful about what I put in my spirit as far as movies. So I don't try to go too crazy with movies. And just kind of realize that movies are just kind of like reading a book. They're for enjoyment. They're not realistic, right? So I kind of balance that, but I'm not perfect. I ain't perfect.
I hear you.
Love a good Marvel. Love I'm a so love love a good Mission Impossible.
Come on, right?
Maverick,
right.
Top Gun.
Do you have a few? Oh, Top Gun. Yeah. Do you have a few favorites that you lean towards?
Ooh, man, my favorite movie of all time is Men of Honor.
Is that Cuba Gooding Jr.?
It's Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah.
De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love military stuff. So, That's relaxing. I'll watch the rom-com with my hands tied.
Oh.
Got to have some popcorn for that though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
But movies. Yeah, movies is a thing I do. I like movies.
Same. Weird. That's actually kind of my answer too.
Okay.
Is totally a movie guy.
Yeah.
And I love a good list, right? I have my top 3 are probably set in stone forever.
Ooh.
I mean, I think number 1 for sure is an immovable object. Like no matter what happens for the rest of my existence, the movie Gladiator.
Oh,
I will always argue is the greatest film of all time. I like
Gladiator. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's my favorite. I am saying it's my favorite, but I'm also saying it is the greatest film ever put to the silver screen.
Okay.
It is incredible. The second, probably my second favorite movie is Braveheart.
Man, we're
Mel Gibson flick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then third is probably, and this is like deeply secular, right? A little bit biblical. I tie it in, but this is not a recommendation for those people listening, but 300, right? 300 captures like the artistry of comic books in film. There's some, not safe for work scenes in 300. So be careful if you're watching it. We're not recommending it. But there's a through line, and a fourth one is like Last Samurai. I really love that movie with Tom Cruise.
That's a good one.
So
Last Samurai.
The through line of all my favorite movies, right? There's one theme that I love, and it is a man who's willing to die for what he believes in, and he's not gaining anything from it. So Gladiator, he is seeking revenge for his family. And I'm not saying revenge, like I think revenge is the Lord's, but it's really cool to watch somebody of honor, like protect his fellow gladiators, right? And to watch these men basically be torn down, told they're not enough, right? Through all the films, they are men who are taken down below deck, if you will. They are treated with no reverence whatsoever. And what they have to find is meaning in what they're doing. And so as a man of faith myself, I find those characters to be fascinating, and I want to be like that. At the end of the day, would I sacrifice whatever I have to for my family? Would I give everything to try to fight for what I believe in? Would I believe if no one else believed it? Because all of those characters are told, don't do what you're doing. And at different points in the movie, they're all told, I'm going to give you an out. You can step away from what you believe in, right? You can back away from joining the Japanese army you're fighting with, Tom Cruise. You can step away, Leonidas, from leading the 300. In fact, we're telling you don't, right? That's what the oracles all say on top of the mountain. Spoiler alert. In Braveheart, William Wallace, they come to him and say, you don't have to do this.
Yep.
You've won. It's over.
It's another choice.
Right? Maximus, he could just continue living and hide out as a gladiator. He doesn't have to push back against the emperor. But at every turn, when they're given the easy way out that is dishonorable, they choose honor and difficulty and not ease and dishonor. And I want to be a man that chooses honor and difficulty forever.
Ooh.
So yeah, those 4 movies, it got deep for a second.
Okay.
But that's why I love them. That's why I love movies. They tell us stories that I think all those kind of hero stories reflect Jesus. Because Jesus was a man who chose difficulty and honor all of the time. He did not do the easy thing. He could have at any point saved himself from the cross, even mid-hanging. He could have taken himself off, whatever it was, right? Said, guys, I'm good here. But he didn't.
Wow.
He chose difficulty and honor. I just want to be a man that chooses difficulty and honor.
Ooh.
So that's fun for me.
That's fun.
Those movies are fun for me. Even though it's heavy, that's fun. Now, I love other movies and other shows, and I could list countless things that are like just popcorn TV, comedies, things like that. But those are the most fun movies for me to watch, where I feel like I'm in them. Like I'm the character. Like I can envision myself being the character. Those are the rewatchables.
Yeah.
Those I will go back and if they're on TNT, if they're on AMC, when you turn on the TV, it doesn't matter where they are in the movie.
Yeah.
we might have to be late for that birthday party.
What?
We might have to be, not really. I don't, I wouldn't do that to somebody, but I at least want to watch 10 minutes of it. And depending on the part of the movie, I'm just going to be riveted for a second.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely a movie guy. I love it. It all ties into the design. It all ties into just how God is so cool and operates through storytelling and metaphor and really shapes my hero's journey that I feel like I'm on. So
that's pretty cool.
That's really fun for me. Entertainment.
It's amazing how we've had kind of identified here a little bit, kind of like our personalities. Like what we find fun is usually outside of movies, right? It's actually like actively doing something, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a book guy who you can sit and read a book. I'm not. I kind of got like force myself to read.
Yeah, I'm an audiobook guy.
Yeah,
I could do it in the car.
Yeah, I'm not a like, if there's something got to be going on. Like even when I'm sitting watching a movie, like I always have something I'm snacking. I'm doing something, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we've kind of identified like fun for us is it's a little bit of purpose. It's a little bit of movement. It's a little bit of action. It's a little bit of going into things. I think for me, I found this just, I noticed like after I retired from the Navy, I didn't know how much pressure I was on, or under in the military to how much action was involved in what I did. Right. And then when I retired, I was just like, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now?
Yeah.
And so for a couple years, I did some things, but I was in a little bit of a tailspin. I went back to school initially to be a medical doctor. Got the medicine bug and still kind of got it a little bit. And during that process, I had to do like some shadowing, like go like hang out with doctors in the emergency room and do other stuff. And I was just like, okay, that's a little slow. And so they said, well, you can go and you can get qualified to be an EMT and work your way up to paramedic. And I was like, that's my speed. Let's go. And so along that journey, right, it's the learning, getting qualified as a certified EMT, just exciting. Emergency medicine, just the bomb, right? And then starting when I actually hit the street as an EMT, dude, you get to meet people on their worst day, right? And sometimes you get to like, you literally get to partner with God and get to practice this thing we call medicine, like to like literally save lives. And you never know what you're walking into. Sometimes you're walking into somebody just not feeling well. And sometimes you're walking into somebody who's like slipping away. And I was just like, wow, this is a phenomenal job. Now, this is long hours. And I realized like EMTs and paramedics do not get paid. They do not get compensated enough for what they do. But the people who do the job, it's kind of like teachers who don't get, I'm like, why? Teachers they're intelligent people. Why do they stay? Because they love what they do. It's fun to them. They enjoy watching people grow. Why do paramedics and EMTs like stay so long in this field where they really don't get compensated well? And I realized because they love helping people, that this is fun for them. They love showing up on the scene to a challenge and being at the end of the day. We don't win every case, right? But because we're there, it's a better day, right? Like if we weren't there, it's all bad, right?
That's true.
But it's amazing how the things that we enjoy drive us in certain instances. And let me tell you, there's thousands of people alive today because somebody chose to be underpaid and showed up because they followed their passion and ended up impacting, saving a life, making a life better. And so I think it's number one, fun to find out about yourself. It's fun to know what drives you, right? It's fun to lean into who God created you to be. And so don't shy away from those things. If you're looking at your life and you're like, my life is not fun, I'm not enjoying this, then you need to hit the dial and start experimenting with some new things, right? Find out what really gets you going, right? Because it may not bring you a lot of financial happiness, but it may be so fulfilling to your life that the rest of that won't matter, And so to all the people out there who are doing a job that they really love and they're like, I don't make enough. I just want to say thank you, teachers, professors, first responders, military people. These are not rich people. I think these are people who are, they're not poverty. I mean, at some levels, at beginning levels they are, but they've really committed their life to do something that they feel called to do. And so, I think there's a lot of people out there doing things that they deem worthy and they enjoy in their life, and they just get overlooked. And so I take this moment to say thank you, because we live in a better world because we have teachers and preachers and military people who make our world go around, first responders who show up. My son's a police officer in Newport News. And let me tell you, he doesn't make a whole lot of money, but he makes a whole lot of a difference. And so even to you, Jason, I mean, your students will be better people because they got to experience God, and they got to experience great graphic design through your passion, right? So what I'm saying to all those who are listening today, fun is important for your life. We did 2 episodes on fun because we honestly, and I'm speaking for kind of me and Jason, you can kind of piggyback on this. Number one, following Jesus is an amazing life, but it's not easy. But let me tell you, when you trust him, right, and you let go of all of the qualifications, all of the stress, all of the worry of this world, God will put you in places that will stretch you, and he will put you in positions where you can really enjoy the gift of today. And I believe that's really what we're pushing you to do. Like if 2024 isn't panning out the way you want to be, you're still sitting at a job that you've been hating for 10 years. I'm calling you out to say, hey, take inventory, right? God doesn't just want you to survive. He wants you to thrive. And so really look at what is it that what really makes you get going? What's really fun to you? And I guarantee you, if you point yourself in that direction, God will lead you. Because I think he wants you to be fulfilled. He wants you to have fun. I want to see you with a smile on your face. And let me tell you, this opportunity me and Jason have to speak to you and for you to listen, man, we're so honored. I mean, this is a dream for us. I mean, we started this idea a while ago, and man, God has really done an amazing thing through our lives, and we want to see the very same for you. Jason, I know you got something on that one because I was on my soapbox for a minute.
No, you're good. I think the joy of my life, and I think this is true for you as well, the real joy of my life is helping other people have fun.
Come on.
Right? It is fun to help others have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the point of this episode at all, is to show you it's okay to have fun, to talk about the things you have fun with. But at the end of the day, we're sharing them with you guys, anybody listening, sharing them with each other so that we can connect more deeply.
Yeah.
Right? The reason that I still do things or am comfortable doing things that not everybody does, right? Having fun with comic books or design I think we use the word nerd a lot, but I love how nerdy we both are. Like I think nerdy is just diving deeply into things and being passionate about things. And sometimes people call it nerdy because it's things that are unusual or different or whatever it is. I think that's awesome. I think God thinks that's awesome, to have purpose and be dedicated to something. And I think people will be dedicated and find purpose in things that they find fun.
Yeah.
Even when it's challenging.
Yeah.
Right? We have CrossFitters. They're out there just sweating, and it's hard, and it's rough, and it's a challenge, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Right? We have people diving deeply into playing Dungeons and Dragons and learning all the characters and learning all the different, whatever it is, like the mythologies behind all these things, right? We have historians who dig into the Civil War, and they go to the sites and they find all these things. We have people who just study makeup and how to put makeup on and how to apply it and how to cut hair, right? We have people in cosmetology school that are going to think, man, this is fun. We have people learning how to fight with lightsabers that I wish existed, and learning every line from Star Wars because they think it's fun. All these things that people spend their time on, most of them are not things where they feel like it's a punishment to do so. And so to me, That's what I want people to take away from this is life in God is the most fun.
Yeah.
If you want to have the most fun possible, lean into that, find that, whatever it takes to be able to pour your life and give your life to something bigger than yourself, find your purpose, find why God has created you.
Yeah.
That's my challenge for all of us. For you and I both, Warren, and everybody else listening. Find what's fun for you, lean into it, and don't be ashamed of it.
Come on. So good.
God is really, really fun.
Yeah, he is.
My suggestion, start there. I think that's it. I think that's what fun is about.
Boom.
So, man, boom. That's so good. Can I pray us out?
Absolutely.
It felt awesome, man. Felt awesome. God, thank you so much for today. Thank you for fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing us to have fun. Thank you for showing us what fun is. Thank you for designing us, for allowing us to work out, allowing us to detail cars, allowing us to play basketball and find artists we like and watch movies and eat good popcorn, God. All those things that are fun. Thank you for continuing to allow us to have peace and rest in you, which is the most fun, and help whoever is hearing our voices now find that same peace.
Yeah.
Thank you for who you are. Thank you for the opportunity to do this with Warren. This is just so much fun. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Dude.
Super fun, man.
So good.
So good. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Yep.